You're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
All right, if you're headed to the ballpark and you're looking for a shirt to wear, well, why not buy yourself a number 46? He's starting tonight's game, right? It's time for baseball as Kia presents the Wednesday game of the week. It's the New York Yankees against the Texas Rangers in the middle game of a three-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees Baseball, along with Paul O'Neill and John Flaherty. I'm Michael Kay. Well, the Yankees didn't have very long to celebrate. It was a really exciting victory yesterday over the Texas Rangers. Walk-off home run by Ichiro Suzuki. Today, bad news. They find out that Mark Teixeira is going to be, in fact, out for the rest of the year. The damaged tendon sheath has to be surgically repaired. It's going to take about 6 months. He'll be ready for next year, but he's not ready for this year. And here's Mark Teixeira's feelings about that.
It's very tough, especially in a season where the team could probably use me. We've had some really, really good teams the last few years, and this year we have a great team, and I would love to be a part of this team.
Well, it's definitely not what we wanted, and we thought that the shot would get him through, but they've decided that he needs surgery, and we're going to have to do it without him.
When you play for the New York Yankees, you want to win a championship every year. And at the point when you are not on the field and then are told that you're out for the rest of the season, you can't help your team do that. So you feel pretty worthless as a baseball player.
All right, there's two ways to analyze this, how it affects him, how it affects the team. We start with Paul O'Neill. You have been on the DL in your career. How does it affect a guy who's going on for the rest of the year?
Well, I mean, you saw the answers. There's still a smile on his face somewhat. It sinks in next week when you've got a cast on your hand and you start watching game after game and you realize you're not going to be any part of this team this year. There's no DL. There's no coming back. It's a long way to next year. And it hits you, and you realize that it's over, and it takes a while for that to sink in.
All right, it's cold, hard business. Now the Yankees have to move forward. How do they do that without Teixeira?
Well, you find a way to move on, and they've done it all year, but obviously you're missing a switch hitter in the middle of the lineup to break up some of the lefties. A Gold Glove first baseman, Overbay, is going to get a lot of the reps right now. You wonder if the Yankees may be looking for a right-handed bat.
All right, you move on now. There's a game tonight. Let's take a look at the New York Lottery pitching matchup. Andy Pettitte's going to go for the Yankees, 5-5, 4.20. Justin Grimm will get the start for the Texas Rangers. The youngster is 6-5 with a 5.57 ERA. Coming up, we'll have more on Andrew Eugene Pettitte, 41 years old, oldest starter in the league. He hasn't been that great of late. What's going on? We'll talk with John Flaherty about that very thing next. Andy Pettitte, his last three games, 1-2, 4.29. The numbers are not terrible, but he has not lost 3 consecutive starts since 2008. Welcome back to the booth, everybody. That's John Flaherty. I'm Michael Kay, and Paul O'Neill will rejoin us in just a moment. The thing with Andy is that he has not been terrible, as I mentioned, but I don't think that he has been as consistently effective as we've seen him in the past.
You know, repeating his delivery and making quality pitches, pitch after pitch, is probably what you're talking about. When Andy Pettitte makes a good pitch like this cutter down and in, he reminds you of the Andy Pettitte his whole career. The problem lately, when he makes mistakes, some of the flat pitches out over the plate don't have that same type of action, and he is not getting away with those mistakes. The other thing, giving away some leads, that's not what we're used to seeing Andy Pettitte do. See if he can get back on track tonight.
All right, so he bounces back or tries to bounce back against a very tough Texas offense. We'll see how he does. We're closing in on a ball game. Lineups, first pitch, baseball next, right here on Yes. By Jaguar. See the new model year lineup at JaguarUSA.com. By White House Down. In theaters Friday. And by Honda. Visit your Honda dealer today for great deals. Only a Honda is a Honda. Hot, steamy Wednesday early evening here in New York City. The Yankees have taken the field. So Andy Pettitte is taking his warm-up tosses. And why don't we take a look at the Texas Rangers starting lineup. Ron Washington put this one together. Ian Kinsler at second base will lead off, batting second and playing shortstop, Elvis Andrus. Nelson Cruz in right field, he's going to bat third. Cleaning up third baseman Adrian Beltre. A.J. Przinsky will catch, he'll bat fifth. Batting sixth and DHing Lance Berkman. Mitch Moreland, the first baseman, will bat seventh. Batting eighth and playing left field David Murphy. And Leonis Martin, 2 home runs yesterday. He's in center field, and he will bat ninth.
Well, that lineup for the Texas Rangers going to face the lefty veteran Andy Pettitte. We'll take a look at Andy's numbers for the season. This will be his 13th start, 5-5, 4.20 ERA. We'll take a look at our pitcher scouting report, which is brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. Andy's 2-5 with a 5.13 ERA over his last 9 starts, so it's time for a change. And he's given up a lead the last 4 times that he's had a lead, which is very un-Pettitte-like. And if he has 7 more strikeouts in this ballgame tonight, he will tie Whitey Ford, the chairman of the board, with 1957. A lot of strikeouts.
Ooh. All right, we're about ready for the middle game of this 3-game set. Kinsler is set, so is Pettitte. And let's do it here in the Bronx. First pitch is a strike. We're underway. Mark Carlson is calling the balls and strikes behind the plate.
I read that last time out that, he was closing in on Whitey Ford. You just don't think of Andy Pettitte as a strikeout pitcher. I mean, cutters, a lot of ground balls, good sinker. He added up a few over the years.
Well, you think ground balls to the left side and a lot of double plays, right?
Yep.
Base hit up the middle for Kinsler.
I mentioned in that scouting report, time for a change, because the numbers, ERA over 5, his last 9. And it's an example there. First pitch, where first at bat to Kinsler, out over the plate, rocket right back up the middle.
Andy Pettitte, when he is on, his control is just unbelievable. From in and out with his cutter and his 2-seamer away. Last start against the Rays, he didn't get beat up, but he gave up a lot more hits than he's accustomed. He's just hitting, he's not hitting the corners. He's seeing a lot of plate.
Here's Elvis Andrus. Good pickoff move as Kinsler heads back.
Elvis Andrus. And I was talking to Jackie Morton, the assistant coach, and Elvis Andrus, I said, he's a better hitter than it. Came in last night hitting 237, had a couple hits up to 241, but he said, yeah, one of those guys that signed a bigger contract and is trying to live up to it in a year, and it puts a lot of pressure on guys. And he's a good, solid player. Texas has put a lot of confidence in signing him. Just relax and play. Easier said than done, right, Clay?
Yeah. Well, I guess the good news, he's still got a ton of stolen bases and plays a great shortstop. So you have faith that the batting average will rise as the year moves on.
His last 31 games, he's hitting 179, and part of the problem with that is he was leading off when Kinsler was hurt and just did not feel comfortable at the top of the order.
Ron Washington holding over there. He had a little fish bait hanging out over the dugout.
1-1. Push bunt. It is a beauty. It's a base hit. Well, that was in no man's land. Overbay fielded it, nobody to go to.
There we go. That's a stopwatch. It's got a little rope on it. But left-handed pitchers, you'll watch Andy Pettitte. They deliver, and they're kind of falling this way anyway. Just can't get over there. Actually, Overbay almost had to play at second because Kinsler getting such a late jump because Andy Pettitte's move is so good. He's out of the box, Flash.
Yeah,
what do you think of that?
Yep. Front foot is out.
And he's out.
We should call time.
I don't think they'll listen.
Yeah.
Here's Nelson Cruz. First and second, nobody out.
I bet those umpires would be glad to see me storming down. Just for old time's sake.
Do you have a problem with any of them? Jerry Davis? He's the crew chief. He probably was
Jerry's
umpiring.
been around a long time. I don't remember any big run-ins with Jerry. That's what I'm talking about. That's that backdoor cutter or slider. I mean, that ball comes around the plate, ends up on the outside corner. Not much you can do with it from the hitter's standpoint. You see hitters start fouling balls off their foot and their shin. Then you know Andy's got a pretty good cutter. Always had the ability to get in on right-handed hitters.
One thing to pay attention to, too, also Joe Girardi telling me maybe mixing in a few more curveballs. Felt like Andy's got away from that curveball, not necessarily as a strikeout pitch, but to get ahead in the count and kind of get some hitters on their heels again so you can get away with the cutter in, even if he doesn't locate it perfectly.
He doesn't have that huge curveball, but he does have the ability to throw it for strikes early in the count. And you could get a strikeout from a lefty possibly, but righties, it's definitely a strike one or strike two pitch.
That's going to sting a bit.
Well, this is where Andy is at his best. I mean, early in his career now, trying to get a double play with the cutter in on the hands. 2 in a row to Cruz. Both of them fouled off his left leg. Catching Andy, you always felt you were one pitch away. That ground ball to the left side, double play. You're out of a big jam early in the game.
Two and two.
Just as a hitter, when you start to open up just a bit to try to get that barrel to the bat on that cutter, that's when he'll throw that two-seamer and you roll over. A lot of double plays.
2-2. High pop-up. Infield fly rule is called as Gonzalez makes the play for the first out. Why don't we check the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. 82 degrees, 52% humidity, wind 9 miles per hour, and the forecast is for cloudy skies with isolated thunderstorms. Never great to hear.
I tell you what, these last few days have been so hot and humid, something's got to change. There will be some storms, whether it's late, tomorrow, something.
Here's Adrian Beltre. 0-1.
So far, Flash, it's been get ahead away, and then this pound that cutter in.
Well, if you think back to Andy's struggles recently, I mean, he's made good pitches, but when he makes some mistakes, they get hammered.
Chopped slowly to third. Double clutch, they get one. Cost him any chance at a double play. Knicks had to reach twice, so there's 2 down. Yankees baseball is available in Spanish by hitting the SAP button on your television. SAP is brought to you by Infinity.
Would not help me one bit. How about you? Hitting that SAP button, I wouldn't understand much.
8 years of Spanish, I would not understand much.
Couldn't do it?
No, didn't have the aptitude.
8 years of Spanish.
4 in high school, 4 in college.
And you can't have a conversation in
Should be
Spanish?
just rapping some Espanol, huh?
Muy poco. Here's A.J. Przinsky. Breaking ball strike. Heating up over the last 26 games. Always been a very good hitter. Tough behind the plate, but not great at throwing out runners. Did throw out Brett Gardner in the 9th inning yesterday. 0-2.
Been doing it a long time. Batting average for his career over 280. Has some pop from the left side. World Series under his belt, right? At least one. Chicago.
Yeah.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss. Oh, nope. He dropped it. There was a foul tip, and Stewart could not hold on.
Swing and a partial miss, huh? See that grip where he's just going to slide that, slide that finger over, get that ball breaking away from Przinsky, but he just gets a piece of it.
Well, you know what you're thinking if you're Chris Stewart. What's going to happen on this pitch? Foul tip. It's not a play that you think you should make all the time, but you're definitely thinking about it.
Swung on and missed. That time he got it right. Andy Pettitte comes back to get out of a jam. Coming up in the bottom of the 1st inning, Brett Gardner and Ichiro Suzuki will start it off. Yesterday, they didn't show so much speed. They showed power. And with one swing, Ichiro sent us home. Starting lineup that will face Justin Grimm and is presented by Lexus. Center fielder Brett Gardner leads off, batting second. The right fielder Ichiro Suzuki. Robinson Cano at second will hit third. Cleaning up the DH Travis Hackler. Lyle Overbay at first base will bat fifth. Batting sixth, playing left field Zoilo Almonte. Jason Nix at third baseman, bat seventh. Batting eighth and catching Chris Stewart. Alberto Gonzalez, the shortstop, will bat ninth.
Well, the Yankee lineup going to get a look at the young right-handed Starter for the Texas Rangers, Justin Grimm. It'll be the first time the Yankees see him. His 14th start, the ERA elevated at 5.57, 25 walks, and 72 2/3. Pitcher scouting report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. And there's a lot of opportunities for young rookies with Feliz, Ogando, and Colby Lewis on the DL. A youngster getting a chance here, and he's had a tough month of June. 1-2 with an ERA of 9.90. But he's only 2 years removed from being a Georgia Bulldog, so has flown through their system.
Count 2-0.
I'm sure Kevin Long, the hitting instructor, gave the Yankees a scouting report. A fastball that's not overpowering, has a little sink. Good curveball and a change.
You see Brett Gardner, who has been hot for the Yankees, much more aggressive. I mean, these are 2-0, 3-1 pitches he used to take all the time. Now, he's comfortable at the plate, understands, a base hit's as good as a walk, and he's been much more aggressive at the plate.
One-two, chopped over the mound, over the bag, into center field, a base hit for Brett Gardner. Let's check out the Rangers defense behind Grimm. Murphy, Martin, and Cruz left to right in the outfield. Infield, Beltre, Andrews, Kinsler, and Moreland third to first. A.J. Przinsky behind the plate, and Justin Grimm is on the mound. Here's the hero of last night's game with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Ichiro went yard. Walk-off home run. And at the age of 39, he became the oldest player to hit a walk-off home run for the Yankees in a regular season game. Raul Ibanez hit a game ender in last season's postseason at age 40.
Well, not an easy task either against Shepard's throwing about 98 with a little movement.
Ichiro in his career only had one previous walk-off home run. That was against Mariano Rivera in 2009. Popped up. Beltre runs out of room.
We'll see how Grimm reacts in this outing. He was making some comments before this start about pitching in Yankee Stadium for the first time. Excited about it. Everybody around the Rangers said he's an excitable kid where he'll have that one bad inning where he can't slow the game down. Because of that, his numbers a little elevated lately.
Fouled away.
The month of June has not been kind. 9.90 ERA. Pretty good names on that list. John Lester, Matt Moore.
List you really don't want to be on at this time of the year. We talked last night. I mean, Michael, you mentioned it also. Przinsky, big put out by throwing Brett Gardner out late in the game. Not noted for throwing out a ton of runners. Well, I tell you what, perfect job last night.
Grounded up the middle. Andrews steps on the bag and fires to first and doubles up Ichiro. 6-6-3.
He's kind of waiting to see this big curveball the entire at bat, and Grimm does not throw it. He gets away with a sinker. Ground ball to short. Easy double play. Kevin Long can tell these hitters all about what he has, but until you get up to the plate and you get a good look at that 12-6 curveball or the sinker with a little movement,
Takes a few pitches to figure it out.
Cano with a fly ball to shallow right. Cruz comes in, makes the play, and that will do it. No run to hit. And because of the double play, nobody left on base. We played one, 0-0 here on Yes.
With ESPN New York. I didn't roll with this one well at all, so I popped, and that's it. Alex grabbed Hal, and they had a conversation. Hal reiterated about the way he did it in a more professional way maybe than I did, but about managing from the top down rather than from the bottom up.
So Brian Cashman pretty much explained his somewhat harsh words that were plastered across the front page of the Daily News and the back page of the Post today. But the story has advanced since Brian spoke to the media. From Jason Zillo, director of PR here with the Yankees Media Relations. Jason tells us that Alex called Brian Cashman around 5:30 p.m. today. Yankee President Randy Levine was also part of the conversation, and they all spoke for close to 30 minutes. Jason said it was a healthy, constructive conversation. Everybody is on the same page. Here's the 1-0 to Berkman. Fouled away. And this is a quote from Jason Zillo. Quote, "We are all going to communicate and work together to get Alex back as quickly as possible. Everyone fully understands the protocol and processes in place, and we are all back on track." So, I guess everybody involved hoping that puts that to sleep. And if you just landed from another country, Alex tweeted out yesterday, "Doctor said I'm ready to go and can't wait to start playing games." Brian Cashman was told about the tweet by ESPN New York, kind of exploded, telling Alex to keep quiet, but in stronger terms than that. And that became a big dust-up today, but Brian faced the music with the media when he was facing the press because of the Mark Teixeira injury, and it has moved on since then with Alex talking to Brian Cashman and Randy Levine. So everything seems to be copacetic, and we'll see how it goes from here as Lance Berkman goes down on strikes.
Be a strange at bat. Lance Berkman, when he played with Andy Pettitte, two of the closest, they're best friends basically when they were in the Houston Astros. And next thing you know, you're up at the plate facing guys. He knows you, you know him. Two veteran guys going at it. Round one goes to Pettitte.
That'll bring up Mitch Moreland. And also, just to finish up the point, when we say protocol, the Yankees have a protocol that the Yankees will decide and the Yankees will announce when an injured player is ready to take that next step and play in rehab games. And I think that's what rankled Cashman yesterday, that Alex pretty much was establishing that he was ready to go and going to play in rehab games. And Brian said that's not the way we do things. Players are not supposed to announce that. We'll decide when we talk to the doctors and the baseball people down in Tampa.
Well, in this particular situation, there are more than one doctor involved, which is unusual. I mean, usually it's a team doctor that deals with the injured player, and Alex obviously having the hip specialist doing the surgery and overlooking the rehab. You know, I guess the lines of communication maybe not 100% altogether.
See, there's the curveball, 82, and Andy Pettitte can use that against lefties. Throws it right at him, kind of buckles you as a left-handed hitter. Starting him off with a fastball, so good sequence of pitches here.
You're starting to see some of the misses are what we're used to seeing from Andy. Off the plate, staying out of the middle. Really the one bad pitch early on to Kinsler, and he rocketed it right back up the middle.
Swing and a miss. Third strikeout for Andy Pettitte, third in a row.
You know, it's amazing to me right there. 3-2 count. You throw that ball in an area where you know it can't be hit, and you can trust by his experience that this hitter is going to chase this ball.
You got to get inside the head of a hitter on a 3-2 count. I know I was always trying to be aggressive, thinking I was right back in it in a more of a hitter's count. Andy realizing that, throws a pitcher's pitch and gets away with it.
You know, there are so many counts as hitters that you get amped up because you know you're going to get a strike. You assume 3-2, they're coming right at you.
Did you assume the same thing? Because I always did.
Yeah, it's a count where they have to throw a strike. You become aggressive, and sometimes out of the zone, you get yourself out. Great play by Overbay. Pettitte sprints, gets him at the bag. I'm helping you out a lot lately, Michael. You know that?
Maybe too much. 1-2-3 inning as we're here in the second. We go to the bottom of the second. There's no score as Overbay takes a base hit away, and Andy. The Yankees. We start the conversation with this. How do you think sports allow family members to bond with each other? And you write, this is RW Rate. I have great memories of going to the ballpark with my dad. Now I'm making new memories of the ballpark with my sons.
Has your daughter been to a game yet?
Not yet.
No?
Not yet. She watches, though.
Watches you?
Yeah.
Listens?
Yeah.
Recognizes the voice?
I hope. Follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using hashtag Yankees Prius to keep the conversation going. Travis Hatton is starting to pick it up, has a modest 4-game hitting streak, a big home run yesterday.
Great approach yesterday. I mean, he stayed through the ball. He hit a couple balls to left field. And under that one, as a hitter, when you're coming out of a little funk and you have a big night, you can't wait to get to the ballpark the next day and see if it's going to continue. And you really got to stay with the same approach. You just can't throw yesterday's approach of staying through the ball the other way and get back to trying to hit home runs. You'll fall right back into that habit of pulling them foul and getting behind in the count.
There's Lyle Overbay. Pitch up and away.
I think back to Hafner's game last night, 3 hits, a home run, a couple of hits the other way. And you almost have to feel better about it because of how good the approach was, like you were talking about.
Overbay with a deep drive to right center. Martin back, looking up, see ya! Into the Yankee bullpen. A home run for Overbay, and the Yankees lead 1-0. So on the day that the Yankees find out that Mark Teixeira will not be here for the rest of the year, the guy who is the fill-in at first base says, you don't need to fill in any spot. I'm okay.
Yeah, you wonder there are going to be a lot more eyes on Lyle Overbay now for the rest of the year, and he gets a sinker up in the middle of the plate and hammers it into that Yankee bullpen in right center field. He got so many big hits early on, slowed down a little bit, now picking it back up and being a very important player with Mark Teixeira going under the knife.
There's something to be said about coming to the ballpark knowing that your name is going to be in the lineup, that you're not trying to hurry up and put together some good games before a guy comes back. I mean, today, he doesn't want Mark Teixeira not to play again, obviously, but these things happen in baseball, and a lot of guys get opportunities to do good things out on the field by other guys getting injuries. It's part of the game.
1-1 Almonte. Well, Mark Teixeira's cheering it on. He's going to have the surgery sometime next week. He'll travel with the team to Baltimore this weekend, and he said he'll be here a lot, but doesn't want to crowd it. And injured players don't like being around because they don't think that the other players like them around.
I was just thinking, you feel uncomfortable. You can't contribute out on the field. You feel like you're in the way a little bit, and you can be a cheerleader all you want, but it's an empty feeling.
Yeah, I tell you what happens is if you're not playing, and after a while you actually lose focus of what other guys are going through. They're locked in trying to do things, and you kind of lose that. You flip the switch and you turn it off, and sometimes it can be annoying to other players because you're not in the game like they are.
Almonte could not hold up on a ball in the dirt, so he strikes out for the second out.
We talked about that big curveball, and you get ahead in the count, and then that's when the guys will go fishing for it. And did a good job there.
There it is, a little 12-6. Think about Phil Hughes throwing his big curveball. The rim's not quite as big. Similar styles, fastball, curveball, changeup, and Phil Hughes will throw a slider. We'll see him tomorrow afternoon.
A little bit of a comparison, guys, between Teixeira and Overbay through 68 games last year. Teixeira 253, 12 homers and 40 ribbies. And now Overbay through 68 games, 239, 9 home runs and 34 ribbies. And remember, Overbay had to sit down a while when Mark came back, so the numbers are somewhat comparable. Knicks hit a big home run yesterday, and those are the two Yankee first basemen, one out for the year and one. He's the first baseman. He's playing now, Lyle Overbay.
Well, first thing you think of, Mark being a switch hitter, lefty-righty does not matter. Can break up some of the left-handed hitters against left-handed pitching. Obviously, Overbay struggling a little bit this year against lefties.
remember Cots last night come out of the bullpen, and it's like a lefty's dream right now. Like 1 through 6, I think last night were all lefties. Good job.
Mike Maddox, the pitching coach. And Nick scalds one into center, but right there is Martin, and that'll do it. So a lot of the spotlight now will shift to Lyle Overbay with Mark Teixeira on the shelf. He flashed some leather in the top of the inning, and at the bottom of the inning he goes yard. It all adds up to Yankees 1, Rangers nothing. Your Medical Center Inspired Medicine. This is the timeline on Mark Teixeira. Left the WBC exhibition game on March 5th. Pain in the wrist. Placed on the DL at the end of March. Activated from the DL the end of May. And then he left the game in Anaheim against the Angels with pain. Got a cortisone shot a couple of days later. Didn't really feel well. Andy Pettitte goes down. Collided with Jason Nix on that bunt. Let's see if everybody's okay. Steve Donahue poised to go out there, and happens as we're reading an injury report.
I think Andy actually threw this ball off of Jason Nix, trying to make a play at first base. We'll take another look.
Wow.
Oof.
The old around the back trick toss there, but again, I mean, two guys coming in, probably no play at first base here. Surprised Andy Pettitte, if anything. Last thing you want to do is kind of be exposed there and just have your arm stop in that motion.
Stevie's still out there. Joe Girardi was headed back to the dugout. Some smiles, so looks like everything is okay.
He doesn't have to throw one. You would think he would throw a few just to make sure he was all right.
You saw that he looked at his hand, too. Might have jammed his thumb against the body of Nix. But they're not going to have him throw one, which is kind of hard to believe.
Andy Pettitte at this age figures he's got so many bullets, doesn't want to waste a couple practice, huh?
So Martin with a bunt single after hitting 2 home runs yesterday now has extended his hitting streak to 11 straight. The Lincoln scoreboard shows you the Yankees lead 1-0 on the strength of the Overbay home run. And back to the top of the order, and Ian Kinsler. finishing up with Teixeira on that list. He gets the cortisone shot. Yankees think that's going to knock it out. He still feels pain. Then he undergoes more tests, and they show that there is a tear in the tendon sheath, and he has to have surgery, and he will be out for the remainder of the season. But the one thing that he stressed today in meeting the media, it's not a degenerative condition. So when he comes back, he will be 100%. And that should be in about 6 months that he'll feel 100%. And our very own Meredith Moragovitz joins us now in the booth. And Meredith, a busy day with the Yankees, and the question is, you just see Overbay hit the home run. Are they satisfied with Overbay being the first baseman the rest of the way?
Well, I don't think when you're a team you're ever satisfied. I think Brian Cashman certainly has his work cut out for him coming up with this trade deadline rapidly approaching. I think they're content right now, but you always have your eyes and ears open, seeing what else is out there, what's available. And if the Yankees feel as though there's someone out there that's an upgrade over Overbay, I think they might try to make a move, but it needs to make sense. They need to fit in with this organization. So right now they will use Lyle Overbay. That may change in the future in the event they feel that there's something out there, but this team could potentially have a lot of needs come that trade deadline.
Now, Mark seems somewhat philosophical during the press conference, Meredith, but you would assume that he's got to be crushed that he's going to miss most of this year.
100%. I mean, he's a guy that wants to be out there. All these guys want to be out there on the field contributing, and he even said it. Look, this is a year where I felt this team really could have used me with all the injuries they're going through.
Stolen base for Martin.
And, Michael, it may be one of those things where, although everyone was hoping for the best, fearing the worst, when he injured that in the WBC, he said the first thing that went through his head, am I going to miss this entire season? Is this something that's going to keep me out for the duration? And there was a glimmer of hope there, saying you might be able to rehab it. The Yankees decided that was the route he should go. Mark Teixeira, of course, with them, decided, look, let's try to do the rehab and see what happens and try to get back out there on the field. But you have to wonder if there was a thought in the back of his mind all the way through, this thing may never heal 100%. I could be looking at surgery regardless.
Andy with the inside move to go to second, chasing Martin back. I was talking to Willie Randolph today, and Willie was one of the coaches on the USA team in the WBC, and he said he remembered when it happened. He was walking toward the back cages as Ian Kinsler works a walk against Pettitte, and saw Mark Teixeira walking toward the clubhouse with a look on his face, holding his wrist. And he said, what happened? And he said, I don't know, I just felt something really funny. And at least I never thought it would lead to him missing the season, but that's exactly what he did.
And the funny thing, Michael, is the fact that he doesn't regret trying to play in the WBC. Takes a lot of pride in that, was excited to be a part of that team, and he's kind of the mindset, look, this is something that is built up to this. It's not the WBC that did it. This is something, it's an overuse injury. It's a typical overuse injury. Now, you'll always have people that'll say if you weren't trying to go that hard at that point in time, that early in spring training, maybe things may have been different, but Mark Teixeira is saying he really kind of amped things up over the past 2 years, working on his swing, getting in the cage even more than he typically had, and thinks that's why this happened, not necessarily playing in the WBC or trying to play in the WBC. So doesn't regret that at all, certainly regrets the end result here.
Here's Elvis Andrus. He shows bunt, takes high. Now, in terms of financial ramifications, because you got hurt during the WBC will pick up $7 million of Mark's contract, and Yankee President Randy Levine revealed today that the Yankees have insurance on the rest of the money, so they will not have to pay a player as much money as Teixeira is due without having him play.
And that's something, because he really only came back and played 15 games before he experienced that soreness in Anaheim. And if you're the Yankees, you think there's a chance you might get a Gold Glove first baseman back. Why don't you take that chance? Try to have him rehab it. You know the alternative is surgery, and he's going to lose the season anyway. You certainly can't fault the Yankees for their original decision in saying why not try to get him back this season, especially as the injuries started to trickle in one after the next after the next.
Now, we know that they're not getting Teixeira back, but now we find out there might be a chance they could be getting Eduardo Nunez back.
He is actually scheduled to play down in Tampa. There's some rain in the area, so that start is delayed, but he is in the lineup, batting leadoff, playing shortstop. So he's made some significant progress starting that rehab clock on him in the event that they get that game in. But Joe Girardi said the other day, look, I don't necessarily think I'm going to get any of these guys back before the All-Star break, but you can see a flurry of guys perhaps coming back right after it, and maybe kind of boosting this team a little bit.
Good bunt by Andrews. They have one play. They make it at first. And the throw pulls Cano off the bag. So that's going to be a sacrifice and an E5 on the throw from Jason Nix. Kind of a weird inning developing here, but Andy Pettitte knows he has the bases loaded and nobody out.
It's a big out. I mean, he does a good job. He gets the bunt down, but you see, good call. Robbie's foot comes off the base. Andrews ran hard enough to get down there and make it hurt.
I'll tell you what, you look at that replay, he had his toe back on the base. I think that was a bad call. Robbie didn't really argue vociferously, but it seemed like he got the toe back on the base before Andrews got there. So now bases loaded. And Cruz fouls it straight back here. And a nice catch by a fan under our booth. Take a look. He's initially off. And then he's back on before the foot gets the bag. So I think he's out. And Jerry Davis, the crew chief, got the call wrong. So it's a sacrifice and an E5 allowing him to reach. And an 0-1 count on the dangerous Nelson Cruz. 0-2. Very quickly, Meredith, there's actually been good news about Michael Pineda. He's pitched well.
He has. He went 6 innings for AA Trenton yesterday, allowed 2 hits, walked 2, also struck out 4, and all the reports from him that he's progressing quite nicely. You look at his fastball, he has some movement on that. Hitting anywhere from 94 to 95, depending on what gun you want to believe. Sometimes those minor league guns are a little bit off, but he's sitting for the most part between 92 and 94 with his fastball, so that's certainly encouraging, and it's not like something he comes out in that first inning. He's firing away. He has a lot of adrenaline going, and it kind of tapers off as the game goes on. He's keeping that velocity up consistently through the 5th, through the 6th inning. Also, he's incorporated his changeup a little bit more, and they believe that could be a pitch that could really help him at the next level if he continues to develop that and continues to use that. So it's been fastball, slider, change for Pineda, and most importantly, no pain in that shoulder.
1-2 count on Nelson Cruz. Foul back. We will hear from Meredith a little bit later on. She'll be on the postgame with Sarah Kustok and Ken Singleton. Thanks, Meredith.
Anytime, Michael.
You know, in terms of that gun being a little off.
I was going to say, everything doesn't work good in the minor leagues, right?
That on one of the pitches in Pineda's start, they had him at 142 miles an hour.
Really?
Yeah, so I think that was a bit off.
It's gas right there. Huh?
I think he'd be up if he threw 142.
Kind of hard to catch up to, isn't it, Flash?
High heat.
Yeah, it could be high, low, or out. It doesn't matter at 142.
The 1-2 just missed. Got that tidbit in a story that was written by Don Burke in the New York Post. He actually went there to cover that game, so I think he said that one of the readings was 142. Two balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out here in the third. Yankees lead 1-0. Bases loaded with Rangers. 2-2. Foul back.
Tell you come down to big at-bats in the game, and this is probably one of them right here. Nelson Cruz. I mean, he's their RBI guy. Bases loaded. Andy Pettitte has him in a situation where he could put him away with a good pitch. Talk about the change of events. I mean, you either keep this thing going and set up a big inning, or Andy Pettitte can pitch his way to the minimum. Maybe give up a run or so.
2-2. Missed outside. Saw a shot of Dave Magadan, the hitting coach for the Rangers. Interested observer as Andy Pettitte calls out Stewart.
And I mentioned in that scouting report before the game, Andy Pettitte, the last 4 times he's had a lead, he's given it right back. And obviously only a 1-0 lead early in this ball game, but things getting a little out of hand here in the third.
Take a lot of time on this pitch selection because this is a huge pitch. Bases loaded. Pitches and times throughout the game that change the course of the game, and this is one of them right here.
Is this another 3-2 count where you prey on his aggressiveness, right? Knowing Cruz wants to go deep. We'll see.
The pitch. Keeps fouling him back. Fouling back fastballs, fouling back breaking balls.
You know, last night watching Cruz, it looked like he was trying to pull everything. And when he's at his best, It's right center field with power. And even this at bat against Andy looked like he's trying to pull a little bit more than I'm used to seeing.
Coming around the ball.
Yeah.
And I mean, this ballpark is just set up for his right center field swing.
Sure.
He's quick enough to get to the ball inside without worrying about it. It's a slider there, so you see Andy Pettitte's not going to give in.
Strike 3 got Cruz looking. Cruz now 1 for 13 lifetime against Pettitte. 9-pitch at bat.
Well, really good at bat, and Andy Pettitte wins the battle. And now, like Paul was talking about, you start thinking, I might be able to get out of this jam with a big strikeout to start it, getting the first out. Borderline low, but it definitely caught the plate.
That might have been south of the borderline.
Oh, I'll tell you what, that's just a horrible feeling as a hitter. You're up there with bases loaded. All the good things that can happen are going through your mind, and all of a sudden you hear that strike 3.
Beltre, here's strike 1, 0-1.
And then on the other side, Beltre comes up there knowing, you know, 1 ground ball and we're not getting anything out of this inning. Negative thoughts start creeping into your mind. You really got to be disciplined, get a pitch that you want, and make sure you can get it up in the air. And Andy Pettitte, you're thinking sinker down and away or cutter in. Try to get yourself a ground ball.
Dials it up to 90, 0-2.
Go in there again, maybe a little further inside. If he's willing to swing at it in off the plate, let's see how far he'll go.
These are the times as a pitcher you can't get ahead of yourself. You can't get too anxious to try to get that strikeout, and just, you know, you've got a couple pitches where you can try to make that perfect pitch, and you got to use them.
That one's crushed to left field. Almonte is going to play it off the wall. 1 run scores. 2-run score. Moving to third is Andrews. It's a 2-run double for Beltre, and the Rangers lead 2-1.
He got him in a position where a great pitch could put him away, but he got it up in the zone, and he went with a fastball. But you see right up there where Beltre can handle the ball, and as a hitter, you're looking for a ball up in the zone to get it out of the infield and score that run.
This is an example you see on Yesmo by Mercedes-Benz, what I was talking about earlier. Andy's been throwing okay, but when he makes a mistake, it gets hit hard. That ball's supposed to be in off the plate. It ends up middle in and up.
It's funny, I remember at bats like that where, you know, you've got 2 strikes and pitcher makes a mistake, and as soon as you hit it, you can just hear the catcher scream, and there's another one.
Brzezinski wraps one into the gap in right center. 2 more runs will score. And Brzezinski with a 2-run double. Now it's 4-1 Rangers.
It's just things we're not used to seeing from Andy Pettitte. When he is on top of his game, he eliminates mistakes. He pitches with leads, doesn't give them back. Didn't think that was a terrible pitch to Brzezinski. It looked like it was down middle. Get another look here, and he just drops the bat head into right center field. Double, couple RBIs.
Andy has been struggling here at Yankee Stadium. You see he surrendered the lead in 5 of his last 7 outings. In his last 5 starts here in the Bronx, 0-3, 7.46. And he's only lost 4 straight home decisions in 1 season during his career, and that was in 2008 when he did lose just 4 in a row.
You see those numbers, and Paul, you know better than anybody, Andy Pettitte's so hard on himself. He's beating himself up on the mound right now. I believe he had an early lead and had a tough 3rd inning. And it all starts with a bunt.
A bunt, a bad call at first base as well.
Yep.
Break down the at-bats too. You know, he's made 2 great pitches to get ahead, and then he's made a mistake. And you're right, when he makes a mistake, even with 2 strikes where the hitter's kind of in that defensive mode, they've hammered it.
Count 0-2 to Bergman. 55 pitches overall, 24 this inning. 2-2. Inning continues.
Flash, I know you've been back there many times when guys go through this, and all of a sudden, you don't really know what to go to. I mean, his fastball's been hit because it's been up in the zone, and all of a sudden, breaking ball and cutters he isn't able to throw it for strikes.
And also you got to add on top of it how tough Andy is on himself. He's beating himself up on the mound. Chris Stewart, you got to keep him positive. Try to get him through this inning somehow. Problem when that pitch count gets elevated in one particular inning, fatigue definitely becomes a part of it. You're laboring, tough to make a quality pitch.
Two. Grounded to third. Nix will get Berkman for the second out. So Andy's old buddy helps him out.
It's deflating about this. I remember I was in the studio last week talking about it a little bit. With this team, the way it's constructed, Andy Pettitte, when he takes the mound, you got to feel like we're winning this ball game, especially when you get him a lead. And he gives up some of those leads. I mean, we're just not used to seeing that this in his career. It's deflating from a teammate standpoint.
Almost getting to that magic number, too. I mean, when the Yankees have been so bad this year when they give up 5 runs or more. I mean, their offense is just not equipped right now to throw up that 7 or 8 runs.
0-1 to Moreland. No stirring it in the Yankee bullpen. On a hot, humid night, you can see Andy's face bathed in sweat. And this has to be taking a lot of them, a high pitch inning. The 0-1. 0-2. Last 3 starts, Andy has not pitched that well. 1-2, 4.29 ERA. He's had control in the zone with 16 strikeouts and just 2 walks, but opponents hitting .291 against him.
What you did see on that graphic was 3 starts, 21 innings. He is giving them some length, but at this rate, 60 pitches in the 3rd inning, that's going to be tough.
Strike 3. Moreland down looking, but the damage has been done. 4 runs on 3 hits. 1 big error. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. team scouting report on the Rangers, Paul.
Bullpen bullies. Their bullpen has 17 wins, which is second in the American League, only to Toronto. And on our tail, since 2010, the Rangers are 323 and 241. Only one team better, and that's the New York Yankees. The solid farm system. They were rated by Baseball America as having the second ranked or third ranked in all of baseball. So they're good now, and they're going to get better, and they're going to be good for a while because of their farm system.
Good job on that.
You like that?
Yeah.
Took a little time and effort.
I bet.
Couldn't even read my own notes because I didn't write it.
Pitch outside. It'll be Stewart, Gonzalez, and Gardner. 8, 9, and 1 on the Lincoln scoreboard. 4-1 Texas. Grounded to short. Andrews gets Stewart for the first out. Meredith said earlier that Eduardo Nunez was in the lineup for the Tampa Yankees, but he's not going to play. No, nothing happened except that the Tampa Yankees were postponed due to rain.
That happens a lot. I played in that Florida State League down there, and I tell you, that's why they have those domes down there. Summertime, big thunderstorms late in the afternoon, almost a daily thing.
Here's Alberto Gonzalez taking a strike. He's playing shortstop tonight. And this move right here is probably just one of desperation for Joe, because David Adams hasn't been able to hit. He has seemed overmatched at the plate, so they'll give Gonzalez a go at short, move Nix over to third. Ground ball to second. Kinsler gets Gonzalez for the second out.
Yeah, we talked about it last night. A manager really studies young players going through tough times. You know, his body language and how much they can take. 1 for 17, Adams is so far on this homestand. So it eats at you, and that's one of the things a manager has to do, is be able to read when a guy needs a little break.
Well, you talked a little last night about Vernon Wells, a veteran. Maybe will play better after this little mental vacation. You wonder, with Adams being a young guy, will he take it the right way?
Yeah.
And use it properly to, you know, kind of regroup and get going again, or will he put more pressure on himself when he gets in there?
Wouldn't be surprised if, when the lineup was put in, that, you know, Joe Girardi didn't bring Adams in and explain, you know, this is a day off, this is not a demotion. This is, try to explain, try to get into the mind a little bit, try to, you know, build some confidence, you know, take a day off, come out, have a good game for us tomorrow. And sometimes those little meetings with the manager where you, as a young player, you feel like, you know, my manager still believes in you. You know, it pumps a little confidence in you.
You got a good soul, Paul, because you said he's 1 for 17. He's actually 1 for his last 21.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So in other words, you wanted to call me out?
No.
On Yes TV?
I just said that. It shows that you're a good guy. And one other thing, he likes Nix's defense at third, especially with a ground ball pitcher, so he can explain that to Adams as well. Adams is really a second baseman by trade.
You know, if Adams was in there listening, he was thinking, yeah, I'm not so bad. I'm 1 for 17, and then Michael dropped the 1 for 21 on him.
Gardner grounds out to second. So Grimm retires the Yankees in order. 1, 2, 3. We're going to the fourth inning. It's 4-1 Texas. clicks for free help today. Which former Ranger and future MVP scored the go-ahead run in Andy Hawkins' no-hit loss against the White Sox in 1990? Top of the fourth, Andy Pettitte is on the mound. David Murphy is at the plate.
Well, Andy did not have a whole lot of time in between innings. The Yankees going 1-2-3. Not a lot of pitches seen. Right back out for the fourth inning. Not a lot of time to regroup.
You know, we've been analyzing Andy quite a bit and what he's done in the last couple of games. And I'm wondering whether or not all of us are getting caught up in the name Andy Pettitte and what he's done in the past. And maybe we don't realize he's the oldest starting pitcher in baseball at 41 years of age. And maybe with age, some consistency goes away. Maybe he's not able to give you a great start every 4 or 5 days. Maybe it's just a different pitcher out there because of his age.
Well, you know what? We saw Andy at the beginning of the year look like the old Andy Pettitte. But, you know, I agree with you. Whenever you think of Andy, or I do as an ex-teammate, a guy you just thought that's a win. He's going to go out there. We score him a few runs. It's over. They're going through a little tough stretch right now.
Line down the right field line. It's a foul ball.
See Murphy come back, and that's one thing Andy Pettitte has done this year. He's really controlled lefties. Lefties are 9 for 64, which is a 141 average. Second lowest in all of American League starters. And there were days in the old days where lefties actually had better at bats than the righties because of that cutter just in on the righty's hands all night.
Grounded to short. Gonzalez. Murphy hustles down the line, gets thrown out for the first out.
You know, Paul, you mentioned that against the lefties. It became a little crutch for a catcher. You always go to the cutter whenever you get in trouble. When you caught Andy back in the day, because it was so dominant. Almost like a sinker baller like Chin Ming Wong. You always go to that sinker 80% of the time, knowing you're going to get a ground ball.
Here's Martin, shows bunt again and takes a strike.
Well, this guy's done it all. A couple of home runs, bunt for a base hit, stolen base over these 2 games.
11-game hitting streak.
Kind of yelled it out last night. You know, you might see, you know, a guy that's really showing what he can become in the last month. I tell you what, quick bat, good speed, good outfielder, good arm, and the list goes on. And it took a while. He's going to be a really, really good player here for the Texas Rangers.
All right, here is Kinsler, and we'll take a look at the Jeep Hitters Scouting Report.
It's a little busy here lately.
Yeah.
Michael, huh? Good matchup. He and Kinsler. I mean, he handles left-handers well. 308 average. Steer the ship. The Rangers are 32-17 with Kinsler in the lineup compared to 12-16. So he makes when he's out, he makes a big, big difference. Leadoff power, 28 leadoff home runs since 2008, the most in Major League Baseball in that span.
You're amazing.
Yeah.
18 holes of golf, workout, and you still put those together.
Well, you forgot a couple meals in between, too. Been busy today.
Grounded to third. Nice pickup on the short hop by Nix. And Andy recovers from the tough inning by retiring the Rangers in order 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the fourth. 4-1 Texas.
Skipper's Quit Line Quiz. And again, the question, which former Ranger and future MVP scored the go-ahead run in Andy Hawkins' no-hit loss versus the White Sox in 1990? And the answer is Sammy Sosa.
I remember it was in Chicago. Yeah, should have known that.
Now, I actually covered that game as a writer, and I believe the story of that game, I might be off, is Jim Leyritz played left field.
Yeah.
And made a couple of errors out there in the, I guess it was, the bottom of the 8th inning. So Andy didn't give as many hits, but he gave up a run, and the Yankees didn't score in the top of the 9th, and they lost.
You know the first game I caught in the big leagues was a no-hitter and a loss?
No.
Yes, it was. Matt Young.
Matt Young. What, did he have like 8 walks or something like that?
He walked Kenny Lofton to lead off the game, stole second, stole third, ground ball, 1-0, did it again the next time, stole second, stole third, sack fly.
Flash, you were catching that game and he was stealing all those bases?
All those bases. Well, you remember Matt Young couldn't throw to first base. You remember that part?
Yeah.
Ichiro picks up a base hit to start off the 4th inning.
So you caught a no-hitter, went home mad because the dude scored 4 bases on it.
No, I got a lead off a double for my first hit in the big leagues, my first at bat. So I didn't go home exactly mad.
So you were pumped.
I was pumped up. Got my first hit out of the way. But I think they stole 6 bases in that game. It's a tough start.
Yeah. And sometimes they steal them on the pitcher. Flash,
all the time.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot.
Here's Cano. Just got under one and popped it up to right field in the 1st inning. 1-0.
Well, second time through the order, Grimm facing the Yankees. I expected more sinkers down in the zone from Grimm with the report that I got. A lot more fastballs elevated than I thought there would be. See if the Yankees have some better at-bats second time through.
You see his overhand delivery right over the top. Not too many guys get real true sink from up there.
Yeah.
You usually drop down and kind of get that 3/4, but he gets that good downward movement on his curveball being up there. But to me, that's kind of a hard slot to get good true sink.
1-1, 2-1.
Watch him, and you see right over the top. And a lot of times, to throw that two-seamer, you've got to be out to the side where you can kind of finish it and get that two-seam spin.
John, that looks like a pretty high leg kick to steal on.
I saw him. He did slide step once, but that is a high kick.
Ichiro is going. That one is popped up, shallow left field, and the catch is made by Andrews.
Well, I tell you what, and I was just wondering if, the Yankees, they're still going to have to play their game to score runs. You can't sit there and wait for home runs. Good play here, long run. But Ichiro on the move, so it just goes to show you, in the old days, you're down 3 runs, everybody had the stop sign.
Yeah.
You wait for somebody to hit the big home run. Not now. You still got to steal bases, try to steal runs, get back in this thing.
Paul, you were breaking down his motion and throwing right over the top, and sometimes that gives a guy a little bit more deception where you can't pick up the ball away from his head almost, where you get a better look at it. It gives him a little bit of deception. 91-92 might look a little bit harder. That usually doesn't beat Robinson Cano like it did there.
Oh, Flash, you're jumping. You got me there. I almost
thought we had a chance there.
Michael didn't budge.
I got 2 big league ball players next to me. I have no worries.
Yeah, you saw the old timers game, bro. We're not helping you a bit.
We got the video, Paul, that you don't mess when John Flaherty's in the booth for a foul ball. Because
How was
one
his
day
game?
in Seattle,
It was in Seattle. I thought it was Oakland.
he almost crushed Bob Lorenz. It was unbelievable.
Why are you trying to come between Bob and I? We're good friends. You're trying to break us up.
No, it happened a while ago. You guys patched it up.
You had many nights you hung out in the cave in Stanford with Bob Lorenz, huh?
Many nights. You know, I was explaining, we had some visitors in the booth today, and I was explaining that whole play to them because one of the guys mentioned that I made a play in the booth. You either go for it or you don't, Paul. There's no in between.
No in between.
Oh, here it is.
That's right. Bob Lorenz back to, come on, like he wanted any part of that ball.
You either go for it or you don't. All in.
Count 1 and 2.
And we've talked about it a lot, about Hafner's approach last night. Fouled off a couple pitches. I mean, this is an ideal time as a left-handed hitter to really stay on the ball. You know, force yourself to push that ball the other way. If he hangs a curve, you'll turn on it anyway.
Runner goes. Grounded foul. Check this stat out on the Firestone Complete Auto Care Extra Mile. Yankees have had 37 4 or more home run games since 2009. That's the most in the big leagues. Next up, Toronto, then Texas, and Boston are tied for third. And Hafner had one of those 4 home runs last night, all solo shots. John, I just got a text from Bob Lorenz, and he said, I had a clear bead on that fly ball, and he totally shouldered me.
You were playing center field. You just called him off. Huh?
So now here's the thing. That was years ago.
Right.
Now you're bringing back a lot of bad memories. I'm going to have to call up Bob and explain it to him again. Back on the same page.
You know, the only problem with this fight, or this little feud, is he'll be the last one with the microphone tonight, you know?
No, he's off.
Oh, he's off.
John's the last one. 1-2.
There you go, Paul. I don't know if he was thinking about shooting it the other way or just kind of beat with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
And you see him up there, you know, he's sweating. He's really into it. He's concentrating. He's doing everything he can. He's had a couple pitches, and you know, I keep saying the same thing about swinging around the ball. And with the balls he's hitting hard, he's coming from, you know, the angle around the ball this way instead of straight through the ball where he can line that ball into the gaps. You understand that when I draw that? That
Yes.
mean anything to you? You got that?
Yes, absolutely. Furthers my education.
Yeah. You got a master's up here?
Sitting next to you, yeah. Check swing. Did he go? No, he did not, said Dan Iasoni.
The best fastball we've seen tonight, 95 miles an hour. Hafner going with really a no stride.
Yeah.
Foot down real early.
That front hip's just kind of flying open, and you just tell that he would love to get that ball inside, something he can really drive. It's the thing, as a hitter, you can't force a pitcher to pitch us. You have to adjust to it, especially with 2 strikes.
Runner goes. Swung on a miss. Throw to second. Not in time. Stolen base for Ichiro as Hafner goes down on strikes.
Well, I don't know if that was Grimm or if that was Przinsky, but that's a good, I mean, by reading his swing before, flying open, a good breaking ball down and in. Ichiro takes advantage of it. But you see everything out in front.
Well, Grimm did a good job of speeding up Hafner's bat there, throwing him 93, 95, getting him thinking about velocity, and that's when you come back with a good breaking ball down and in to get the swing and a miss.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees.
Big secrets out there, Paul.
It's kind of a new thing. I never understood that. Not a lot of lip readers in this game, but pitchers aren't going to take any chances.
The one thing I will give Grimm, he's not afraid to throw inside to lefties, and here at Yankee Stadium, that short porch, he's not keeping everything away. A lot of fastballs in. Overbay got him with a solo home run to right center field.
Grounded sharply and grabbed there by Kinsler. What a play. Took away an RBI single from Overbay to end the inning. Kinsler ranging quickly to the glove side. No runs a hit. One man left. We go to the fifth. 4-1 Texas. Well, thank you, Sarah. In that game, I believe that John Lackey had 12 strikeouts and no walks. He's throwing about 94, 95, so he's come all the way back from surgery.
Now explain something to me, Michael, and see if you know this one. This year, because of the realignment and stuff, that every day there's an interleague game.
Essentially
one,
every day.
Right?
Right.
And then, or everybody plays interleague. But now there's 3 or 4 interleague series going on. How does that go about?
Grounded to second. Andrews is out. Well, there's 30 teams and there's 15 in each league, so it always has to be at least one interleague play if every team is playing. But there could be 2 teams are off and there's no interleague play. But there could be 4 interleague games, just the way it matches up.
Now I'm a little confused, but go ahead. We'll just keep going on with the game.
John, you help me out there, or did I handle it all right?
I thought you handled it fine.
I thought it was everybody played an interleague. Well, there was one. Now there's like 3 or 4 series going on.
There's no way that, even the way it is, there's no way that everybody can play interleague. I don't think.
No, that's right. They can't.
Yeah. No, I guess they could, John. If 15 will play the other team's 15.
I love it when I ask these questions. This could go on for an inning and a half. Thanks for the help. I was just a little confused, all right?
Grounded to third, backhanded by Nix, and the strong throw gets Beltre. How about a fact now? You want a fact?
A real fact?
Yes, a Coors Light cold hard fact. Andy Pettitte is 2 away from tying Whitey Ford for first place on the Yankees' all-time strikeout list. That's a fact.
It's a big league name that you're going to catch there, huh?
Good to see Whitey on Sunday.
Oh, it was awesome. Showstoppers, Whitey Ford and Yogi Berra coming out at the end.
There's a strike to Adrian Beltre. Count 0-2.
But Andy looked better the last couple innings. Looks like he's dropped his arm angle down just a little bit. Looks like he's got a better feel for location. A bunch of ground balls.
That's definitely down a little bit from where it was.
And a strong inning for Andy Pettitte, retiring the Rangers. 1-2-3. We're halfway through. Texas up by 3. In the American League West, the Rangers have dropped a half game behind the A's. And that's the Angels, Mariners, and Astros after that.
And the Angels 34 and 43. Wow.
Isn't that something?
Yankees' victory yesterday snapped a Ranger 5-game winning streak. Take another look at the American League East. Those are too quick. Well, the Red Sox won, so the Yankees now 3 back, but just 1 in the loss column. Same deal with the Orioles, who are 2 back in the loss column. Almonte fouls it back. Almonte, Nix, and Stewart. Kia scoreboard 4-1 Texas.
So the Toronto won today 3-0. Jose Reyes back in the lineup for the Blue Jays.
Up to date, Flash, huh? Must have got here early.
Playing so well. We'll see what they do when he comes back now, right? Top of the lineup.
The Tampa Bay manager, I think Dickey started today. He said that he was unhittable. He said he was absolutely unhittable today. They didn't have a chance. This Toronto won 3-0.
I'll tell you what, those knuckleballs, when they get going on specific days, when he's down in that dome too. So.
Almonte with a ground ball to first. Moreland beats him to the bag, 1 away. A couple of pitches ago, Almonte destroys a really expensive piece of equipment. No, it's all right. That's the always famous Fletcher can. You can't be destroying that. There's Fletch. He's okay. How you doing, Fletch? Good. Jason Nix takes a strike. Madison Square Garden matchup here. Knicks against the Rangers. Yesterday he had a big home run, and that was the one people were talking about. How could Darvish give up that home run to Knicks? That made it 3-3. And it set up the bottom of the ninth dramatics by Ichiro.
You know, in all of the sliders that Darvish threw last night, it was still a conversation today on the field. Joe Girardi couldn't believe it. The guy who throws that hard, throwing that many sliders in a game.
And we were walking out of the stadium, the three of us, with some of the Ranger announcers, and they said that one of the things about you, Darvish, he does not explain his pitch choices. He refuses. Why didn't you throw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball? Why'd you stay away from the force that you won't say? His pitch choices are his pitch choices as Nix goes down on strikes looking.
Those guys, it just has a certain feel on a certain night. This is the one you don't want to see. That's that good curveball right on the outside corner. Speaking of Knicks, Mike Woodson was at the game. When's the draft? Isn't the draft coming up here?
The NBA draft is tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Must have been studying his notes while he watched a good game last night. Nice man. I met him in a golf course. Met him in a golf tournament charity event on Monday.
Who's that?
The coach of the Knicks.
Oh, Mike Woodson.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he was at the game yesterday too.
That's what he just said.
You know what? I didn't hear what he said. I'm sorry. I was concentrating on something else. That's my bad.
It's like a baseball game.
No, sometimes the chip in my head that's been installed, the O'Neill filter, sometimes it works, and it did at the inopportune time.
I think my wife has one of those too.
You can get them at any radio show.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that where you get those?
Yeah. Stewart rips one to left field. It is a base hit. It's going to go to the wall. And Chris has himself a 2-out double. That's got to make him feel good. He was 1 for his last 15.
We saw Chris get a base hit last night to right center. Did a great job throwing the ball last night. And here, nice and quick. Supposed to be away. It ends up inside. Just a short, quick swing, hammering it to left field. Easy stand-up double.
Flash, you were talking about it last night, how sometimes you could go home as a catcher and feel really good about what happened, but every once in a while, just to keep that attitude right, you need to mix in a hit, right?
Keep your head above water.
Here's Gonzalez. Grounds one foul. Knocked down by Rob Thompson.
Really kind of dealing here. I mean, this is a big at bat. If you can score this 2-out run, you know, you feel like you're right back in this game. I tell you what, if you were completely going on scouting report as a hitter, you know, slider or a curveball, sinker and stuff, you'd have a tough night tonight because he's been over the top, 92, 94. Every once in a while he's, you know, thrown that good curveball, but has thrown a lot of fastballs tonight.
Changeup non-existent. I can't remember a changeup. This would be such a bonus, too, from the bottom of the lineup. A 2-out hit by Stewart, number 9 hitter Gonzalez, if you can cash in here with a 2-out hit.
But he does not. He waves at a breaking ball, and that'll do it. No runs, a hit. No errors, and 1 man left. We go to the 6th, 4-1, Texas. Brought to you by the Kia Optima Limited Midsize Sedan, Elegance Performance Technology. By Wendy's, now that's better. And by the Volkswagen Sign Then Drive event, where you can drive away from practically just your signature. On the party deck, here above Yankee Stadium, inside the stadium, 4-1 Texas leads as we go to the top of the 6th. And A.J. Przinsky shows bunt. I believe takes a strike. It's not up on the board, but it is on our board, so I'll say 0-1. On the board in center field, it's 1-0. Fly ball left field, we'll never know as Almonte gives chase. 1 away. MLB.TV is celebrating 11 years. Join the millions of fans that subscribe today. Watch every out-of-market game live online on your favorite mobile and connected devices in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV today. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. So Pettitte has settled down. Now he'll face Lance Berkman.
I was in a golf thing a few years ago, right? Columbus, Ohio, and it was a match play thing. So you're playing one-on-one, and you know, as you're playing the match, you're talking. So the guy I'm talking to, I said, you know, trying to be nice. You know, what do you do? Well, we're in the restaurant business. A couple holes later, I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. So what kind of restaurant business? Oh, we have a big chain. Next thing you know, he couldn't go around anymore. It's like, I'm married to Wendy. Columbus, Ohio. Guy's married to Wendy.
Married to Wendy.
Yeah, Dave Thomas's daughter, Wendy.
So he married into.
He married into hamburger heaven.
Right.
He smoked me too.
Grounded up the third baseline. Now, what made you think of that?
You just did the Wendy's commercial between innings. I looked at that little red-haired girl, and I'm like, her husband smoked me.
Well, he's not married to the little redheaded girl. She's now an adult.
Yeah, she is. What's that 27? We got all kind of numbers on that thing.
34-32. Did you see that?
Yeah.
You swung a heavier bat than that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. Over here, 27. That's his number. That has nothing to do with the bat model.
You know, 35 ounces. Did you
35, 35.
Yeah.
But in Cincinnati, I did swing a 32, 32.
It's amazing what you remember as a catcher. O'Neill grounding out or something. You pick up the bat to give it to the bat boy, and I'm like, holy cow, that is a heavy bat.
Trying to set you up for later. Try to go inside.
No, that's what I said. I'm coming in now. The rest of the game, there's no way he can get there.
Models of the bats are so cool. I used to love there's M110s and S2s, and they're all built a little different. And I started out with the M110, which was Mickey Mantle's bat. Hit with the S2 for a while. That was Stan Musical's bat. Then I went to the C243. That was Rod Carew's bat. It's a story before all of them. R43, Babe Ruth's original bat. What'd you go with, Michael? The Eastern Aluminum? Huh?
Now, the R43 was really heavy, right? Babe Ruth had a really
heavy. Yeah, it just had
bat.
a funny shape, too. Bernie kind of used a bat like that. Rather than his Babe Ruth was, back then, they could swing a tree trunk up there. But if you see guys coming out of the bullpen this day and age throwing mid-90s, I don't know if you'd be wheeling that lumber. What'd you use, Flash?
I used a C271 from the first day in the minor leagues to the last day of my career.
Yeah, that was Eric Davis from the Reds.
I love the handle.
That tapered. Had a tapered handle.
And Derek Jeter, the same thing. P72 from the first day in the minor leagues till he was batting practice in Tampa.
Some of those old bats, huh? So many different bat companies now. There were really only a couple back in the old days, and now there's just every guy has a different bat company.
How do you know every single bat number?
I don't know every one of them, but
those you just rattled off
a
about
few of them because I had used those, and I remember somebody saying M110. Oh yeah, that was Mickey Mantle's bat, and also we in Cincinnati, you were very close to Louisville, and Chuck Shupp, who was the Louisville rep at that time, he knew all the bat models and things like that.
Sometimes you'd come into the clubhouse, John, and O'Neill was weighing each of his bat. He put his bat in a little cup, and the cup was on the scale.
Yeah, those are cool. You could weigh. I mean, that's if you got a dozen bats, literally you get 3 or 4 out of that dozen that you thought deserved to be in the games, and the rest were batting practice.
Gonzalez cannot get there. He just knocks it down, so a base hit for Moreland.
Well, you could pick up a bat, too, and feel and say, you know what, that's a little lighter or heavier than I'm used to, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes you get a bat, a whole box, and you'd be all excited like a Christmas present. We'll watch this one go up the middle. A lot of hits up the middle.
So if your bat was 1/8 of an ounce off, it's gone.
Not 1/8, but I mean, there were times where you're used to 35, 35, and you pick it up and it's just not right, and it's like 35, 33, and that's a big difference. And I'll tell you, there were times, like I said, you open it up like a Christmas present, you see it and you grab it, and the shape of them was just off a little bit, and it just didn't feel right.
Now, does the team pay for the bats?
Well, back when I played, the team paid for the bats, but now I think it's changed a little bit that if there are players who want to keep that bat, say if it breaks, and they want to, whatever they want to do with it, they buy their own bats and it's their property. But all the bats I ever used, the team paid for it, and you know what, they could do whatever they want with it if you cracked it or, when the season was over.
Michael, you look like the K100 model. I'll tell you. Remember the K100? Yeah. It was a fungo bat. You did some good ground balls with those.
I just hope K makes it to 100. Moreland at first, 2 men out, top of the 6th, 4-1 Texas.
And Andy Pettitte now getting up to close to 100 pitches. Claiborne in the bullpen. Andy's definitely made an adjustment with his arm angle, and he has been noticeably better the last couple of innings.
It's funny because I almost said something. The first, he dropped down to Ian Kinsler right at the beginning of the game, and it was flat. And Kinsler hammered that one up the middle, and then all of a sudden it seemed like he changed it a little bit. But you're right. He is out to the side a little bit.
It's like
that's a veteran pitcher, and that you could go out and, you know, just kind of experiment till you find a slot that really works for you. You're talking, you know, you're talking just a couple inches.
But as much as we talked about Hafner last night, where he made an adjustment, had some good hits, you wonder if Andy Pettitte found something in the middle of this game that he'll take out the next time. You know, work on it on the side and look forward to his next start and see if he can keep improving.
So he's at 100 pitches right now.
And the way it looked early on, you didn't know if he would get to the 6th inning.
And again, that's another quality thing from Andy Pettitte. You know, even though he went through that big inning where, you know, a young guy just might mail it in, and you know, you got the bullpen up and this and that. You know, he battled. He threw together a couple good innings. Kept him right there. You know, the Yankees haven't scored, but he's kept them right there where they're, if they score a couple runs, they're right back in this game.
Two. Check swing. He did not go. So we're at 3-2 now. And that releases Moreland.
See, this is going to be close, but I agree. But I tell you one thing, Joe Girardi, you know that Andy's right at the end of his leash. He would love to see him. See the pitch count high all year is 105, and he's at 102. You would love to see him finish Murphy off here. Been so good against lefties all year.
Runner goes 3-2. They'll do it again. I would not want the job of the ball boy. I just wouldn't.
It's kind of a no-win situation.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants the ball. You got to give it to somebody, and you're going to crush like 10 other people. I mean, it's awful.
I think you got to do your pregame. See, you got to scout. I mean, this girl, she deserves the ball.
Because she's cute?
Yeah, because she's a cute girl. It's probably her first game. There's a guy up there in a three-piece suit. You know, he's probably been to hundreds of games. Tough pitch right there. And again, this is. Will Joe Girardi give him another hitter? I think he will. There he's going to make sure everything's okay.
Think so, right?
Later tonight, Yes presents the next chapter of the Emmy-winning series Yankeeography with moments of glory. On the premiere, get the inside story and eyewitness accounts of Derek Jeter's historic 3,000th hit. Chevy presents Yankeeography Moments of Glory premieres tonight after the postgame, only on Yes. And everybody here in the booth and everybody at the Yes Network and everybody with the Yankees wants to wish the captain of the Yankees a happy 39th birthday today. How about that for feeling old? Derek Jeter's 39.
It is amazing.
I remember when he got drafted and the Yankees would bring their first-round draft pick when he came to town into the radio booth to be interviewed. And John and I spoke with him. You know, he's very short, very not in stature, but didn't say much, but polite. And I remember going down the next day, and Buck Showalter was the manager, goes, I don't know if that kid could play. I've heard he's really good. But I will tell you this, he will never embarrass the Yankee organization because I met his parents, and they're unbelievable.
She walked in that booth probably weighing about 160 pounds back then. With a little flat top afro. He used to sport. Tell you what, it's amazing just to believe where he's come and what he's done for this organization.
How's that for a scouting report, though? To meet the parents and say this kid will never embarrass this organization, and that's turned out to be the truth. And Showalter always felt that if you meet the parents, you can tell how the kid's going to turn out for the most part. 1-1. Sounds like a broken bat pop-up to shallow center. And Gonzalez is there, and Andy Pettitte completes 6 innings, no runs a hit, and 2 men left. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Yankees down by 3. Yankees are bringing back the player bobblehead series, and it's Derek Jeter bobblehead night, the first of the new collectible series presented by AT&T. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. There it is. Derek's coming into the ballpark.
Yeah. A lot of likeness there.
Yeah.
You're going to get a bobblehead someday.
Well, you know, they were thinking about it, but they don't have enough plastic in the tri-state area for the head. So
your bobblehead would look like Dorf. It'd be a couple right here. You just right there with a little leg on the bottom.
You know what? You're just brutal. So that's a cool little collectible, and you can get that at the stadium.
Did you collect those? You remember the bobbleheads? They were just teams, though. You know, you had the little guys that just represented the team. There were no individuals.
Well, there are going to be 4 bobbleheads this year. The second bobblehead night is Hideki Matsui, then Yogi Berra, and then Mariano Rivera. Did you see yesterday that the Harlem Globetrotters drafted Mariano Rivera? Because they figure fourth quarter, who better to close a game than Mariano?
Wow. Pretty impressive. I didn't even know he shot hoops.
The 2-2. 3-2.
First changeup we've seen right there from Grimm. We're in the 6th inning. 3rd time around for the Yankees.
Bo looks a little nervous. He's going to get in tonight.
Good mood.
That one goes off of Grimm. He finds it, but not in time. Gardner beats it out.
I tell you what, he gets down the line and any kind of, I mean, this is amazing to me because this ball doesn't hardly even go off the mound. So many extra base hits on your scorecard when you have this type of speed. Close play. I'd won it if I was running. How about you, Flash? Huh?
Definitely.
Wow.
You can't argue either way, right?
Yeah, when you can't call it in slow motion, that's a tough play. Again, Ichiro ran a couple innings ago. Things haven't changed. I think that with the Yankees, you know, if you're going to steal bases when you're up, you need to steal bases when you're down. You need to try to push the issue to get back in this game.
Ron Washington has his bullpen busy. Tells you what he thinks about his young pitcher. He's done a good job tonight, but his strength of his club is his bullpen. Not going to be afraid to make a move. Still got a 3-run lead. Only 75 pitches. Robbie Ross getting loose. Third time through a lineup sometimes for a young pitcher. You're starting to see the changeup come out a little bit more. Brzezinski trying to introduce that here in the 6th inning.
Mike Maddox, the brother of Greg Maddox, and Greg Maddox was the pitching coach for Team USA in the WBC. And Larry Bowa was one of the coaches for Joe Torre, and he couldn't stop raving about Greg Maddox. He said that if there was a team out there that decided they wanted to spend $1 million for a pitching coach, they would be underpaying Greg Maddox for what he would bring to the party. He said, he is 6, 7, 8 pitches ahead of anybody else. It's amazing what he knows. You sit on the bench with him and you cannot believe the stuff he tells you.
I know one thing. It was a frustrating at bat because you would go back to the dugout and think, you know, how'd that just happen? You know, it's not like he blew me away with anything. He had great movement, never missed on pitches. Almost pitched to get to certain counts so he could use a pitch just to frustrate you.
Now, if you look at his numbers, he's one of the greatest pitchers of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
And you wouldn't say he has the greatest stuff of all time.
No. Control-wise, probably at the top of the list.
Base hit for Ichiro. Gardner will go to third. Ichiro's going for 2. He's going to make it. Second and third, nobody out for the Yankees here in the 6th.
And again, you got the guys at the top of the order. Breaking ball or changeup just kind of hung out there. Ichiro hammers at the right. Brett Gardner with his speed. You see him peek around. Doesn't need the third base coach for any help. Knows he can get there. And Ichiro, again, this isn't a sure double for everybody. Easy double for Ichiro, though. Again, Michael, you made this point, and it was a good point, that, you know, Joe Girardi has set this lineup knowing that he's got to score, you know, early in the lineup before it, you know, gets late, 7, 8, 9, and they've done a good job since they've gone to this lineup.
All right, so Grimm leaves. Robbie Ross will come on. Ross against Cano. Yankees threatening. live Yes Network Yankee games on your PCs or laptops with Optimum Online. Get a full season of live Yankee games on the go for just $29.99. And if you're an Optimum customer who watches Yes on Optimum TV, go to YesNetwork.com to get more information and subscribe now. Well, Ron Washington makes the call to the bullpen, brought to you by AT&T. And he brings in one of his two left-handers, Robbie Ross. And Ross will face Robinson Cano. Second and third, nobody out. Yankees down 4-1. Infield is back. Pitch outside.
Well, we saw the other left-hander reliever, Neil Kotz, last night go through some of these lefties for the Yankees. Now Robbie Ross, 1.51 ERA, 37 strikeouts, and 35 2/3.
He is holding batters to a major league best 3 for 41. That's 0.73 with runners in scoring position. Base hit, left field. Ichiro held up. He'll just advance to third. Gardner scores easily. That's an RBI single for Cano, and the Yankees have cut it to 4-2.
Just watch how long Robbie waits on this pitch and just shoots at the left field. I mean, how many times are you going to say it? I mean, he's just a great hitter, and when he stays in there and uses left field, this is a swing that Hafner could really learn from. Just let the ball travel. Don't go out and try to hook it. Every once in a while, men in scoring position especially, use the whole field.
Infield still back. And the pitch to Hafner is outside 1-0. That's pretty straight away for Hafner. Usually he has 3 infielders on the right side.
Hafner's done a pretty good job in these situations. 300 with runners in scoring position.
That's a base hit. Scoring is Ichiro. Cano will stop at second. RBI single for Hafner. And because there wasn't a shift on, he gets a base hit. A shift is on. That's an out. And the Yankees have pulled to within 4-3.
And this is a good rally, but this rally only means something because Andy Pettitte buckled down and kept them close after that big inning. See Hafner come around and hit that hole on the right side. Robbie gets a good read on it. Checks out Cruz in right field and knows he can't go to third.
So Grimm had been pitching well. And a single off of Grimm by Gardner. A double to right by Ichiro. Knocks him out of the game. Then Cano serves an RBI single against Ross. And then an RBI single to Hafner against Ross. And we told you Ross's numbers with runners in scoring position. Here's Overbay with a home run tonight. You see Cano around second, and Robbie Thompson wants him to come to third, but Cano had broken it down before he picked up Thompson.
That's aggressive coaching right there because Cruz throws well from right field.
Very well in the short right field. You never know what will happen, but Robbie, you saw him pick that ball up, and sometimes, you know, that ball's hit and you almost have to wait for the ball to go in front of you. Yeah. So you get out of stride, so you don't get second base quick enough. In the back of your mind, you know, you've already put the brakes on.
Overbay the home run in the second, robbed of an RBI single on a nice play by Kinsler in the fourth. Check swing. And the count now 2-1.
This is going to be Robbie Ross's inning. Ron Washington does not have anybody getting loose in that Rangers bullpen. Overbay came into this game hitting 197 against lefties. He's in a prime spot right now, ahead in the count 3-1. Nobody out.
Probably chase ball 4 there. Count 3-2.
This is Overbay in the second inning. Pitch up, out over the plate, hammers it into that right field bullpen for the Yankees.
Swing and a miss. Overbay down on strikes. 1 out.
Well, Russ makes some good pitches, and you see Overbay not real comfortable against that left-handed slider. But you know what? He's going to get a lot more opportunities now where, you know, I think he can use left center field enough to be successful off lefties.
Jason Frazier warming up, and here is Zoilo Almonte batting from the right side against the lefty Ross. Almonte is 0 for 2 tonight. 1-0.
Yeah, just thinking back to that Overbay at bat, a 3-1 pitch out over the plate. It looked like he was trying to pull it, to your point, right? He can just stay on that and hammer it the other way.
Yep.
Give up the inside part of the plate.
Yankee fans having something to get excited about, as they have 2 runs across, first and second, 1 man out. Went off speed, and the count 3-0.
Ron Washington very comfortable with this bullpen. Unusual to see the struggles out there.
What do you think? You give the kid the green light here, 3-0, hitting from the right side?
I'll tell you what, you know, you're down and you've got Nix on deck. I mean, you've got a kid that showed that he does understand the strike zone. He's been a hot hitter. You know, I would see where he's coming from here. Take it all the way.
He'll be swinging now on 3-1. And he walks. So rookie showing patience, and the bases are now loaded for Nix.
Well, this was last night for Jason Nix, a slider that just spun middle of the plate. Second home run of the year.
Big spot in this game as you go deeper into that Ranger bullpen. Those guys throw hard, so you want to get it done. Nix with the bases loaded this year is hitless in 8 tries.
Seems like when you get in a little thing, you know, the bases loaded thing as a hitter, you know this, and you know, you foul pitches off, and the next thing you know, you're in a hole. And that pitch, he did the same thing last night. He had bases loaded one time. He ended up striking out. So, you know, you make something happen early in the count. You take pressure off yourself as a hitter.
The 0-1. Hit sharply to short. Let's see if they turn 2. There's 1. On to first, it's a double play. So Nix could not get it done, but the Yankees do creep within 1. 2 runs on 4 hits and 2 men left, but the 6-4-3 double play gets Texas out of trouble. 7:05 tomorrow. We'll have it on Yes. Then Friday on My 9 at 7:05 in Baltimore. Saturday's a Fox game, and Sunday is an ESPN game, but each of those games will be followed by extra innings on Yes. So we'll have all the information that you'll need, and the Yankees go on to Minnesota for 4. That little cutie. Cadillac scoreboard 4-3. Texas leads the New York Yankees.
How's your weekend looking in Baltimore?
I'll be
One
back.
game?
Yeah, I'll be
You
back.
just come back?
Yeah. Have a wife and kids.
Kid.
That was an inadvertent ass. Jabba Chamberlain takes over for Andy Pettitte. This will be Jabba's 19th game.
Well, Jabba can use a good inning. He's given up 7 earned runs over his last 6 innings, so looking to get back on track. It's the top of the lineup for the Rangers: Kinsler, Andrews, and Cruz.
We kind of asked this question the other night, Michael. Where was Jabba in this role in the 7th inning? Well, he's in there tonight. Big, just got back into this game 4-3. Big opportunity for Jabba.
High pop-up. Gonzalez makes the play. That was up there for a long time. One away. Hey, to vote for the Chevy Player of the Game, visit votechevy.com. Results will be revealed in the post-game show. Stevie Donahue's doing something. Don't know what it is. Andrews takes outside.
Making the magic juice there. That's the hitting juice.
Base hit for Andrews. Turned around a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. And he is 2 for 3.
We talked about it. I mean, Andrews was one of the guys that will steal bases for the Texas Rangers. The ball kind of run back over the middle of the plate. That's not the movement you want. I don't care how hard you throw. The ball starts tailing back towards the middle. It's going to get hit hard.
There's Nelson Cruz. That one is driven deep to left center field. Gardner on the run on the track. See ya! A home run into the Rangers bullpen. A 2-run blast. And it is now 6-3 Texas.
You know, there are some guys who come up to the plate and you start thinking in your mind they haven't done anything for a few days, and they're too good of a hitter, too good of a player to keep them down. And Cruz is one of those guys, and that's a slider right down Broadway that doesn't do much. And he hammers it for his 20th home run of the year, a 2-run shot. And just as the Yankees have gotten back into this ball game, Jabba Chamberlain giving up a 2-run bomb. That's deflating.
Grounded foul. Well, that's the 20th home run for Cruz, so he ties Adam Dunn. Chris Davis leads the American League with 28. And Cabrera's hit one for the Tigers tonight. That's his 22nd. Yankees have to wonder about Jabba now. He has now given up 9 earned runs in the last 6 1/3 innings. And it's odd because he's throwing the ball hard.
Michael, if you saw those pitches, a hanging slider and a ball that, inch back over the middle of the plate. Both of them hittable pitches. Late in the game, close games, guys are really concentrating. You can't miss by that much. Frustrating for Larry Rothschild because I think he's thinking the same thing. He still has good stuff, just not locating it.
That's 97 miles an hour.
This is another look at the slider that does not go away at all. It actually backs up in. And those go a long way.
Like grabbing the bat back there. You see that ball starting to spin there, Flash?
Call timeout.
Yeah.
In June, it hasn't been good in 8 games, 11.04 ERA. Now, he's got the 11 strikeouts in 7+ innings, but he's given up 4 home runs in that time. So the Yankees battle back to within 4-3 again. The mountain gets a little higher and tougher to climb at 6-3 now. Count 3-2. Is that frustration or one that just got away?
Well, it gets your attention, especially after Beltre stepped out the pitch before. Missing up and in.
It just makes it look worse when the catcher doesn't get leather on it. You hear it ricocheting off that back scoreboard.
Served into right field. It is a base hit. It's going to split the outfielders and go to the scoreboard. Beltre picks up a double and the crowd booing Jabba.
I'll tell you what, Beltre, he's something. He's become such a good player. And, you know, again, talking to Jackie Moore before on the field today, he said, you know, that's our leader. And it's not by anything other example. He goes out and plays. And the only time he's not happy and not really into the game is when he's not playing. He wants to be out there every single day. Nothing makes you feel better as a hitter than one going over your head and the next one going to right center.
Well, how about those 2 pitches? The fastball up and in, and then the stare. And then that slider was a good pitch. That's down and away off the plate, and he rifles it into right center field. That's an impressive 2-pitch sequence right there for Beltre. A lot of good swings.
You know, there are some guys, Flash, and you remember, you know, you look at the scoreboard and you know, they're throwing 97, 98. It's just, you know, he obviously has made some mistakes, but you must be able to see the ball. And, you know, you get too many good swings off of Jabba right now. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Popped up. Nix. Called off by Gonzalez, and it falls on touch foul. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, it looked like Jason had a good beat on that ball. Gonzalez making a bid. You wonder about the communication or maybe lack of communication, but it looked like Jason Nix was camped underneath it, then peels off, and Gonzalez nowhere to be found. Again, with Jabba struggling, you start thinking that should have been an out, and I'm going bad, and what's going to happen here the rest of this at bat ahead in the count 0-2.
One and two.
And you watch that fastball. I mean, 96 is Claiborne up again in the pen. It's straight as a string, though. You talk about seeing the ball well, Paul. It doesn't have a whole lot of movement. It better be located.
Talk about Przinsky, and he just not, I mean, with so much that goes on with catching, I mean, you just don't see too many catchers. You look up hitting over 300. And, you know, there's not a lot of infield hits there. Those are clean hits.
He's not getting the Brett Gardner hits.
No, absolutely not. Turned into a very good hitter.
Taps it to third. Nix fields and gets Przinsky for the second out. pretty good hitters just talking things over. No, Beltre has 360 career home runs.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, he got off to such a good start with the Dodgers, but then he kind of went to Seattle and was kind of. But then when he went to Texas, boy, he's just taken off again and just become a solid player. Had some big home runs in the World Series for him that year, and defensively, he's as sound as anybody.
Strike to Berkman. Berkman was 0 for 3 against Pettitte. And he picks up a base hit there against Java. They're sending Beltre home. Now they hold him up. And getting back is Berkman. Strong throw by Ichiro.
Just about to say with Beltre, well, you know, after that at bat, you might see a collision coming here because that was going to be a bang-bang play, and he finally held him up. Ball hit too hard in Yankee Stadium. Ichiro does a good job at hitting the cutoff man. Again, think you're going to score every time, and all of a sudden you look up. Whoop, nope.
Well, Joe Girardi takes the ball from Jabba, who gets booed off the mound as he walks toward the Yankee dugout. Gives up 4 hits in 2/3 of an inning. Overbay solo home run. Beltre a 2-run double. Chamberlain 2/3 of an inning, 4 hits, 2 runs. Runners on base, his responsibility as Preston Claiborne comes in here in the top of the 7th with runners on first and third and 2 outs. And he deals low to Moreland. You don't know how much longer Girardi could go with Jabba in close game situations, and maybe it's Claiborne that gets the call. Maybe it's Kelly that gets the call in the 7th inning.
You can just feel how deflating it is here at Yankee Stadium when you make a little comeback and then all of a sudden 2 runs are given back quickly. Claiborne has fantastic numbers. We'll see which way Joe Girardi goes from here.
Count 2-0. Two and 1. Claiborne certainly done a good job since being called up. Throws strikes. Doesn't walk many batters. Doesn't seem like he scares too easily. 2-1. Good fastball strike on the inside corner, 2-2. And the pitch popped up. Let's see if Nix can get to this one. He does, and that'll do it. But 2 big runs on 4 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. At the end of 6.5, it's time for the 7th inning stretch here at the stadium. Rangers lead the Yankees 6-3, but we'll stay right where we are to honor America in the Bronx.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your caps. And please direct your attention to the area behind home plate and welcome 2 honored guests of the New York Yankees. United States Army Master Sergeant Ryan Boozer, who served in the global war on terrorism, and United States Army Sergeant Keegan Waldrop, who served in Operation Iraqi Freedom. The Yankees say thank you for your sacrifice and service to our nation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join in Kate Smith's rendition of God Bless America.
Post-game show, Yankees Baseball on Yes, brought to you in part by Ford, the official truck of the New York Yankees. All right, we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, and the Yankees will pinch hit Vernon Wells for Chris Stewart. Stewart doubled in the 5th inning. That was his first double of the year. And now on the Cadillac scoreboard, Yankees down 6-3. Wells grounds one up the middle, a base hit. Pinch hit, single for Vernon Wells.
Yeah, it's 2 for 3 since Almonte's been playing left field, and he's had 3 at-bats. One of them a 3-run pinch hit double. It's a ball up the middle. I'll tell you what, this little break that he's getting, I think, is really going to help Vernon Wells.
Why would you pinch hit there, though, down by 3? You know, maybe Chris Stewart, I don't know if he's banged up or not. Obviously, we don't know the whole situation, but I think he might save Vernon Wells for more of an RBI opportunity late in the game.
I'll tell you what, late in the game is not the time to be thinking about scoring against the Texas Rangers, Nathan. I don't know.
I think it comes down to this, John. They're only going to use him against lefties. So maybe he figures this is his one shot to get him at a bat against a lefty.
Well, here I would counter that with, would you feel better with Chris Stewart or Vernon Wells up there late in the game, even against a righty? I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Well, Wells has really been struggling against righties. But I understand what you're thinking, too. But
you two understand each other. I'm just listening to this. You guys really, you understand each other. That's good.
Isn't that a novel idea? Count 2-1 on Gonzalez. Foul ball. Nice catch by the ball boy. 2-2 count. Wells, that was his 3rd pinch hit this season. He had 2 the rest of his career. Now, that makes sense because he's practically been an everyday player. Foul back. Way high. Caroms back to Przinsky. That allows Wells to move to second and take away the double play. Wild pitch.
Well, you see a lot of balls high that you think, you know, the catcher could possibly get a glove on. Do you not pick up the ball high because of your mask?
It's not so much that. That looked like it was supposed to be a slider.
Kind of crossed up.
And you're kind of thinking,
driven to right field. And a foul ball.
You know, if he's going to make a mistake with it, it's going to be down in the dirt. So you're kind of setting your sights so far down that when he throws it that high, tough to react and get your glove up there.
Yeah, it's not like you have a lot of time back there to react.
Thinking slider down and in, it ends up and away.
Neil Kotz, the other left-hander. There's Andy Hawkins. We talked about him earlier on the trivia question. Bullpen coach.
You know, Kotz, an interesting story. I mean,
that one is driven out to right field. Going back, Cruz on the track at the wall. He makes the play. Wells goes to third. So Gonzalez gave it a ride.
Well, Gonzalez had a great at bat all the way through there. Good swings, fouling off some tough pitches, and finally getting one middle out over the plate and drives it a long way.
Thought he had it.
I'll tell you, it's frustrating because it's so many big things go through your mind right when you make contact. All of a sudden it goes for nothing. Well, going back to Kotz, who's out in the bullpen, I mean, he spent 3 or 4 years without being in the big leagues. He had Tommy John surgery and then, you know, did some stints in the minor leagues, threw the ball well, went to spring training with some teams. He couldn't pass anybody's physical because he tore labrum in his hip after Tommy John surgery. But, you know, the Texas Rangers took a look at him, signed him the next day, and he's been very good for him.
Here's the 0-1 to Gardner. Pitch high. A ground ball would make it 6-4, except if it's a ground ball to third, because Beltre's in on the grass at third, guarding against the bunt. One. 1-2.
Every at bat becomes so important, but especially Brett Gardner, one of your better hitters lately, doing a good job with runners in scoring position. You've got to pick up this run. Ground ball, middle of the field, chip away at that 3-run lead.
Strike 3.
I'll tell you what, that's a late call, and that's a bad pitch. I'm not even going to look at the replay. I'm going to tell you that ball's off the outside corner. Flash, you don't deserve that strike when you move the glove that much. Huh?
And usually you don't get a call when you're setting up inside and you get a pitch away and maybe even off the plate away. Umpire is hesitant to call it, but not the case with Mark Carlson back there tonight.
Ichiro's done a good job over his career, driving in runs. Big one out there, big 2-out hit, put them right back in the game.
Since June 12th, that would encompass 13 games, a .360 hitter.
Ross, they're dialing it up to 94. Whatever happened to those 87 with a decent little slider out of the bullpen, Flash? Those guys are non-existent anymore. Everybody's mid to upper 90s.
One on deck, Cano.
See, Ross kind of crossfires and the ball almost sails away from a lefty.
That one's driven deep to right. There it goes. See ya! A 2-run home run for Ichiro, and the Ranger lead is now 6-5.
See, Ron Washington might be taken back out there to get that bullpen little change here, but Ichiro did it last night, kind of cheap, quick enough to drive this ball out. Game winner last night, put him back in the game tonight. Big at bat.
No doubt about it. Over the power sign in the second deck. Power indeed for the second straight night. We got a ball game. Texas 6, Yankees 5. Rangers go to the pen. more entertaining with America's fastest, most reliable internet. That's powerful. Remember, it's a day game tomorrow, 12:30 start on Yes with the pregame, 107 first pitch. Derek Holland against Phil Hughes. So Robbie Ross surrenders a 2-run home run to Ichiro. And now Ron Washington goes to his other left-hander with really sparkling numbers, Neil Kotz. And it'll be Kotz against Cano with 2 outs here in the 7th.
Well, Robbie comes out swinging early in the count, and that to me as a hitter knows you're not real comfortable getting behind a guy. You see Kotz ERA 0.45. A great job out of the bullpen.
Cano has 3 at-bats against Kotz and 1 hit. So not a big sample size. 2-1.
Pretty good takes right there on the slider.
You know what? In the other series where Robbie was jumping a little bit, you saw him offering a lot of those bouncing sliders, and you see he's really staying back. He laced that ball to left field last time up. When he waits to really swing at strikes, I mean, it's amazing how good of a hitter he is.
3-1 on deck is Hafner.
It's a bad feeling when you're a catcher behind the plate and pitches are missing by a little bit and a hitter is not even flinching.
Right.
You know I'm in trouble. We make a mistake here. This could be bad news.
Not too many left-handed hitters. You'll see a lefty kind of pitch around, and right now Kotz has not given. He's not going to give in to Robert. He's not going to give him that fastball down the middle. He'll pitch around him. They're base open. Take his chances with Hafner.
That's exactly what's happening as Cano works a walk.
That's where, like Mark Teixeira, that switch hitter really balances out a lineup where, you just can't pitch around guys because you can't go to the pen for a good matchup. Switch hitters with power is so valuable to have in the middle of the lineup.
And you have no one to go to here. Because you have 3 guys on the bench. You've used Wells. You've got to have Romine catch. And the only other guy is Adams. That's Joe's bench, so he's got to stay with Hafner, who has decent numbers against Kotz, 4 for 14.
You have to walk away. It's like, wow, it took a pitch. It's probably the best pitch I'm going to see this whole at bat. Fastball, outer half. One thing you do see from Kotz is he doesn't change his delivery from that fastball to that slider. A lot of lefties will, you really wrap around that slider or kind of change your arm angle to really get a break. It's the exact same release as the fastball before.
Logan and Robertson up. Claiborne got the final out of the 7th. The 0-2. Strike 3. Hafner down looking. But the Yankees creep closer. 2 runs on 2 hits. No errors and 1 man left. The big hit off the bat of Ichiro Suzuki. Last night he won the game in the 9th. Now he makes it closer with a 2-run shot here in the 7th.
Woodstock and Ken Singleton recap all of tonight's action. Plus Meredith Marakovich with the reaction from the clubhouse and Joe Girardi's management report. It's a W.B. Mason postgame only on Yes. Flash, I've had some people tell me that you look like the W.B. Mason man. Have you heard that?
Without the mustache?
With the fake stash, yeah.
Austin Romine takes over behind the plate, and a debatable move by Joe Girardi. He's Vernon Wells in right field, which means he's doing an American League double switch, and he has a very short bench, but he is removing your hottest hitter out of the lineup. Ichiro is now gone. And Romine will bat in Ichiro's spot. Boone Logan takes over. And what's happening with that move is that Romine's having a hard time offensively. You know, if he comes up in a big spot, you have nobody to pinch hit for him. And the Hyundai scoreboard shows you it could be a big spot, 6-5 Texas. But still, that number 2 spot could come up in the 9th inning.
Yeah, it could.
That's
a
curious move.
You're betting on, I mean, that 8th spot is going to come up, right?
Well, yeah. If anybody gets him in the 8th inning, it's coming up. But you still have another inning to play with. If Romine comes up in the 9th inning, the only answer you have is David, and you can't because you have no other catcher.
Right.
So the 8th spot due up 4th in the next inning. Murphy swings and misses as Romine gets an angle. And we'll see if that comes back to bite them. Again, you take out your hottest hitter right now. And the reason the Yankees are playing with such a short bench is they decided to keep Nova and go with 6 starters at least once around. So if you're going to go with all of those pitchers, your bench gets shortened, and that's exactly what's happened. You go down to the extras, 1 man left. Martin takes a strike.
Martin swings a little different. You know, Kuroda last night against the righty. Logan throws a nice tight slider. And one of those power lefties we're talking about out of the pen, 96. One thing that I have noticed just in these couple games is Martin, how quick his bat is.
One other thing to consider. The next time Wells comes up, it's going to be against a right-hander. So you made that move to keep Wells in, and Wells not going to be facing a left-hander.
Still thinking.
Yes. That's why this is such a great game. Because there's so many things that, that got him in a bad spot.
Yeah.
What's Jamie Reed going to say to him?
Yeah, this is bad. This, you know, guys, close your eyes. That happened to me in spring training once. I didn't think I was going to play. Stevie ran out there, and exactly. What could you say?
Now, being a catcher, I would wear protective equipment every day. I'm assuming outfielders don't have that same.
I did after that, but it was like a spring training game. I ended up hitting it for some reason at the end of the game or something. I don't know. Try to forget the bad moments, right?
Swing and a miss. And he swings at a ball.
In that slider away. Looks like it's going to be a strike, and this keeps going, and you just don't have enough time with Boone Logan as hard as he throws.
That's a good job by Logan. Comes on to face two lefties and strikes them both out. So the Yankees go to the bullpen with Kinsler coming up. We're in the 8th. It's a 6-5 Ranger lead. Yankees Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. By Blimpie, America's Sub Shop. And by your Tri-Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on the 2013 Pilot. Sean Kelly comes on and deals low to Ian Kinsler. Rudy Giuliani, when he comes to the game, stays till the end. The 0-1. 1-1. Numbers that jump out: 43 strikeouts in 27 2/3 innings. One and two. Thought it was 1 and 2. Now it's 2 and 2.
Amazing. You look up at Kelly, 27 inning, 27.2, 43 strikeouts.
That one is lined to left field. It's a base hit. Almonte cuts over. Kinsler's going to go for 2. The throw is not in time.
I tell you, a lot of good things happen on that play. Kinsler, good swing. Almonte gets over there, cuts it off. Didn't quite round it off enough where he could get much on the throw. Strong arm, though. Good job by Robbie. Good job by Kinsler. Just a good baseball play.
Great pick by Robinson Cano. An aggressive play by Kinsler with 2 outs, getting himself into scoring position. Obviously would be a big run. The Rangers can pick it up.
Foul that.
Talk about Kinsler, surprising stat. I mean, we talked about how much better this team is from the leadoff when he's leading off, and his home runs led the last 3 or 4 years. It's his first extra base hit in his last 16 games, which is 59 at bats. He could turn on a ball. You'd expect home runs, doubles from him.
Andrews was actually part of the deal where Texas sent Mark Teixeira to Atlanta, and what a deal it was for them. They knew they couldn't sign Teixeira. They got Neftali Felice, Matt Harrison, Bo Jones, Jared Saltalamacchia, and Elvis Andrews. Pretty good deal for a guy that you can't sign.
Usually when you make a deal like that, one guy might really step up for you, but a lot of those guys on the major league roster done good things.
I mean, Andrews looks like the player we're used to seeing hitting in this number 2 spot. A couple of hits last night, a couple of hits tonight.
Kelly deals. Lined right at Gonzalez, and that'll do it. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We're going to the bottom of the 8th inning. Rangers 6, Yankees 5. Matinee at the stadium. Coverage starts at 12:30 with the Tri-State Ford pregame. And game time right around 1:05 only on Yes. So Tanner Shepard's mañana's tomorrow.
That's right. They threw that up for your little old spend. Bring back your old times and spend.
So Sheppers, who was on the mound yesterday and served up the home run that won the game to Ichiro, comes in here in the 8th. See the Hyundai scoreboard. Texas leading New York 6-5.
I'll tell you what, Sheppers gave up the big home run, but boy, he also showed what kind of stuff he had last night. 97, 98. Tuned it down tonight to 96.
Rounded to second right there. Kinsler. And he gets Overbay for the first out.
Talking about Sheppers last year, it's like he just tried to throw harder and harder, but everything was straight. All of a sudden they taught him how to throw, get a little movement on that ball. Everything's a little bit different now. Kind of like the harder he threw it, the harder they hit it, but not this year.
He does a little bit different. I was watching this last night. His back foot is kind of all over the pitcher's mound. It starts on the right side and then it slides back to the left side.
Almonte fouls it away.
My first thought was maybe he wouldn't be as consistent being able to throw the ball over the plate, but it could give him a little bit of movement, throwing, sliding back across his body a little bit.
See that 98 sinking you as a hitter. I mean, there's so much movement and it's so fast that you just beat it in the ground. There's nothing you can do with that pitch. Monte thinks he has it, and you just beat it in the ground because it's got just a little sink at the end.
97.
You don't have to overthink it if you're Brzezinski and Sheppers. It's fastball with movement and take your chances.
There's that slider every once in a while, just for fun. You talk about a guy, a good four-seam fastball, when you hit it, it just feels good. It's kind of a light. You can drive it. This is that heavy ball that it kind of knocks the bat out of your hand when you make contact because of the velocity and because of the heavy sink on it.
And it doesn't get any easier if you're Jason Nix hitting from the right side. We saw Overbay and Almonte overmatched from the left side. Not an easy at bat for a right-handed hitter.
9.
First 16 games, 15 1/3 innings, 2 runs. Last night, an inning and 2/3, 1 run. The game winner in the bottom of the 9th, the Ichiro home run. Nix had a big at bat in the 6th inning, bases loaded, 1 out, hit into a double play. But that one he drives to right field. But Cruz makes the play on the warning track as Nix turned around a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, but just didn't get enough. Yankees go down in order. We go to the 9th. Texas 6, Yankees 5. Series Yankeeography with moments of glory. On the premiere, get the inside story and eyewitness accounts of Derek Jeter's historic 3,000th hit. Chevy presents Yankeeography Moments of Glory. It premieres tonight after the postgame, only on Yes. All right, Kelly's still in there as we go to the 9th inning. Nelson Cruz swings at the first pitch and skies it to right center. Right there is Gardner for the first out. 1 pitch, 1 out. Texas leads the Yanks 6-5. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, it'll be 8-9-1, and if anybody gets on, Austin Romine will come to the plate. So Wells will lead off, then Gonzalez and Gardner. Count 0-1. One and 1. The closer for the Rangers is Joe Nathan, and he is up. Got a local connection, Joe Nathan, Stony Brook. Actually built the baseball field there with a big donation.
Really good program now, Stony Brook.
Aren't they the Seawolves, I think? The 2-2. Foul the other way. A long run for Overbay. Can't get there. It's in the seats. 2 rows back. She's got souvenirs. She's good to go.
She's got a boy number 1 and a girl number 1. You see that? Pink one and blue.
Soft ground ball through the vacated hole on the right side as Cano was shaded up the middle. And Beltre picks up his 3rd hit.
That's what you got to look forward to, Mike. Well, the little things you have to buy. It's not like you're going to bring your daughter to the game and walk out of here without buying everything.
Well, hopefully I'll be up here and Mommy will have to do it.
With the free giveaway, she'll stock up in here.
Her first gift, the Derek Jeter bobblehead. Przinsky hits one deep to left center. Giving chase is Gardner, and he makes. Oh, he dropped the ball. He dropped the ball as Beltre will advance to 3rd, and Przinsky ends up on 2nd. We'll see how they score it.
And once as a center fielder, you know, you're playing next to a guy that gets good jumps and fast. You see him, I got it, but he looks over. You can see him peek over there at Almonte. Something to be said about guys that, you know, you haven't played a lot together. Just like Brett Gardner just peeked over at Almonte to see where he was. Took his eye off the ball. It's a ball that, you know, he usually plays. He got a great jump, got to the ball.
Big spot in the game right now. You want to keep it at 1 as you go to the bottom of the 9th inning against Nathan. Yankees bring the infield in for Lance Berkman.
Yeah, Nathan has had a great career and having a good year, but he's not one of those lockdown closers that you don't feel like you might be able to get to. A couple of big runs out here.
That is scored in E8.
Lance Berkman last at bat, hit the ball hard from the left side. Looks like he's a little more comfortable from the left side than he was in the early in the game against Andy Pettitte.
Well, Kelly's a strikeout pitcher, and he needs one here. Count 0-2. No strikeout there. Picks up a big base hit to right field. 1 run scores. Przinsky will stop at third. RBI single for Berkman, and a big insurance run for Texas. Up now 7-5.
Michael, you mentioned Kelly being a big strikeout pitcher. Usually it's with that slider that's down, and this one he just overthrows. You see it just spin up, out over the plate. It's Berkman a couple of at-bats back-to-back, base hits, and a big RBI and a big run for Texas.
Nothing happy to write there. So here's Moreland.
Coming into this series, we talked about the bullpens and how good they have been for both these teams. That not scoring the type of runs they have in the past. You look up 23 hits, 12 runs scored between these two teams tonight. So there's been some mistakes. The hitters have taken advantage of them.
Fly ball left field, deep. Almonte makes the catch, tagging is Przinsky. He will score. Throw comes into second. Sac fly from Moreland. And now Texas has a 3-run lead. Well, the Yankees are undefeated when they score 5 or more runs this season, so that's now in jeopardy. And the Rangers scoring 5 or more runs, 28-1. That's a sign of a good pitching staff. Usually make 5 runs hold up, but not tonight. Here's David Murphy. That error is so big by Brett Gardner. And he knows it out there. When you make that error, is that all you're thinking about, Paul?
Yeah, it frustrates you because, you catch that ball 99 out of 100 times. It's just you take your eye off the ball. Brett Gardner's a good outfielder. He gets great breaks on it. You're not a machine out there. There's just some nights that, you don't make a play. And, you hope that it doesn't cost you a couple runs or possibly a game. But, tonight it just so happened that it happened at a bad time.
Runner goes, throw to second, and they get Berkman for the final out. Oh, that's Beltre, who was pinch running for Berkman. That was his major league debut, and he gets thrown out for the final out. So we go to the bottom of the ninth. Do the Yankees have a rally in their bones? Try to make it up against closer Joe Nathan. The guy got thrown out, Angel Beltre, in his first major league appearance, so he gets gunned down. Those are the numbers on Nathan. Almost a perfect season, 25 out of 26 save opportunities, 32 strikeouts and 32 in the third innings. He's had a good season. And Vernon Wells will start off the bottom of the ninth inning. Wells, Gonzalez, and Gardner. He has struggled against the Yankees in 21 games. He's 0-3. A lot of that was with the Twins. Six saves for him. And a high fly ball to right field. One away.